Hello, my friends, and I welcome you to the Teen Theorists with me, Max. This is our first episode of our historical timeline series. Now, you might be noticing this right here. This is a microphone. My pop filter is ginormous, and it's taking up the entire thing. So this thing right here is just a pop filter. I spent like 20 minutes trying to figure out where to put my big ass microphone. So that's interesting. So this right here is just my microphone. If you're wondering what that is, that I just hit and probably it made a noise. I don't know. I don't hear it make the noise while it's recording. But today is our first episode of our historical timeline series. We start with talking about prehistory, which is the part of history that was kind of, you know what, I'll explain it to you in a bit. But first, I just want to give a big shout out to some people, which I actually don't know yet. I just want to say thanks. But anyway, this is not a conspiracy debunking video. Like I said, this is the first episode of our historical timelines video or series, and we start out with prehistory. So yeah, we're starting out way back. So without further ado, let's get into this. So prehistory, also known as pre-literal history, is a period of human history between the use of the first stone tools by humans in around 3.3 million years ago, and the beginning of recorded history with the invention of writing. And the invention of the writing systems. The use of symbols, for example, hieroglyphics, marks, and images appear very early among humans, but the earliest known writing systems appeared in around 5,000 years ago that were not, like the Chinese symbols or hieroglyphics or anything. It took thousands of years for writing systems to be widely adopted, with writing spreading to almost all cultures by the 19th century. So that's actually not too sad. It's like 200 years ago. The end of prehistory, therefore, came at the very different times in different places, and the term is less often used for discussing societies where prehistory ended relatively recently. In the early Bronze Age, somewhere in Mesopotamia, the Indus Valley civilization and ancient Egypt were first civilizations to develop their own scripts of writing and to keep historical records. So ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia were like the first civilizations to keep historical records, with their neighbors following, like Greece and Rome and all those guys. Most other civilizations reached the end of prehistory during the following Iron Age, which was the last age. The three-age division, so like the three-age stone, iron, and bronze, of prehistory into the Stone Age, Bronze Age, and Iron Age remain in much of Eurasia for North Africa, but is not generally used in those parts of the world where the working of hard metals arrived abruptly from contact with the Eurasian cultures, such as Oceania, Australians, much of sub-Saharan Africa, and parts of the Americas. With some expectations in pre-Columbus civilizations in the Americas, those areas did not develop the complex writing system before the arrival of the Eurasians, I think they're pronounced, I have no idea. So their prehistory reaches into relatively recent periods. For example, 1788 is usually taken to the end of the prehistory of Australia. So there's prehistories of like every country, and apparently the prehistory of Australia ended when the Declaration of Independence was signed. The period when a culture is written about by any others, but has not developed its own writing system, is often known as proto-history of the culture. By definition, there are no written records from human prehistory, which we can only know from material, archaeological, and anthropological evidence. I don't know if I pronounced that right. I have dyslexia. I'm sorry. Prehistoric materials and human remains, these were the first understood by the collection of folklore, by the analogy with pre-literate societies observed in the modern times. So, pretty interesting if you ask me. The key step to understanding prehistoric evidence is dating, and reliable dating techniques have developed steadily since the 19th century, so around the 1800s. So yeah, it's weird with the century. So like when you hear a century, like then for example, the 20th century was 19, 21st century is 20. It's kind of weird like that. It's always a year off. Further evidence has come from the reconstruction of the ancient spoken languages. Most recent techniques include forensic chemical analysis to reveal and use the what's it called? The provenance of materials, and genetic analysis of bones to determine kinship, and physical characteristics of prehistoric people. So that is prehistory for you guys. Sorry if I stuttered a bit in the video. I have dyslexia, so reading is not my strong suit, or talking in that case. So bye guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode on prehistory. Next episode will be the Stone Age. Bye guys. Stay tuned.